Hello and welcome back. Today's video is on active recall and spaced repetition. So I've got a question here, and the question is, what is meant by the terms active recall and spaced repetition? Okay, so the one in the blue font is active recall and the one in the orange font is obviously spaced repetition. So let's say you and your friend are preparing for the exam, so the end of topic test, let's say, and your friend asks you questions and you ask your friend questions, and what you're doing, you're testing their knowledge. And that's essentially what active recall is. You're testing yourself or somebody, and to do this you can either use flashcards or exam questions, and there are also other things out there, but do be careful in what works best for you. Okay, so the next is spaced repetition, and spaced repetition is just repeating and reviewing the same information over increasing time intervals. So to help you to understand this, I've got two methods here. You've got the Fibonacci method and you've got the one-to-one method. So let's start with the Fibonacci method. Well, the Fibonacci method is really related to the Fibonacci sequence, which is where you add the previous two terms together to give you the next term. So let's say you were to review the information on day 1, which is a specific topic. Then you review that same topic on day 2, then you review that same topic on day 3, and then you review that same topic on day 5. So as you can see that the repetition gaps are 1 day, 1 day, and 2 days. So 1 day between day 1 and day 2, 1 day between day 2 and day 3, and 1 day between day 3 and day 5. 2 days, sorry, 2 days between day 3 and day 5. So let me repeat that again. So you're reviewing between day 1 and day 2, you got a gap of 1 day. You review between day 2 and day 3, you got a gap of 1 day, and you review between day 3 and day 5, you got a gap of 2 days. So that's probably much more clear. And what you're doing is that your time intervals are increasing slowly, which means that you can get more repetitions through. And this is especially helpful if you're actually starting to study and revise during the beginning of the year. So for example, at the start of year 11 or at the start of year 12, and you carry on to your exams are there, then this is a good thing. And yeah, obviously it will help you to gain that information with also testing yourself and remembering the information that you've just forgotten. Then the next one is the one-to-one method, and the one-to-one method is essentially revising for 1 day, then 2 days, then 1 week, then 2 weeks, and so on. So if you review the information on day 1, you're going to review the same information on day 2. Then you're going to review that same information after 1 week, then you're going to review that same information after 2 weeks. So let's look at the repetition gaps. The repetition gaps are 1 day between day 1 and day 2. From day 2 to day 1, from day 2 to 1 week, you got 5 days, and from 1 week to 2 weeks, you got 7 days. So as you can see, the time intervals are becoming longer, which means that you'll be able to retain more as you forget more. And this is obviously a good thing as well, because if you're someone who is a crammer, which is obviously not well advised, but if it's what you're good at, then obviously I would want you to continue with it. But let's say you're a crammer and you're cramming for a topic, an end of topic test, and this is obviously a good technique because you'll get a lot of topics done in less amount of time. And so it will just help you out in that sense, and you'll be prepared for the test. So if you ask me the question, what method would you advise in me to use, I would advise you to use method 2, so which is the one-to-one method, because your brain has enough time to forget between the repetitions. So between review on day 1 and day 2, that's a repetition. And so because you forget much more, you're able to retrieve that information much more quickly, because first time round it's going to be hard. We all know it's going to be hard, but the second time round, when you forget it and retrieve it, it'll be much quicker because your brain would have built the signals between their synapses. So how can you use active recall and spaced repetition together? So if you were to use active recall and spaced repetition together, you would definitely get top grades. There's no doubt about that. And what you can do is, for example, let's say you're using method 1. And method 1 is the Fibonacci method, and you're testing yourself, for example, active recall, and that is you're testing yourself, which is active recall, and you're using flashcards. To use flashcards, what you're going to do is that you're going to review on day 1. So let's say you're doing a topic in maths, which is quadratic equations, and you're trying to learn the quadratic formula, obviously, because it's not given in the formula book. But yeah, so you're using the flashcards and you're testing yourself how well you know it. So you revise the flashcard after 1 day, after day 2, after day 3, after day 5, and then you do exam questions on that same topic, which is also good because then you've got your brain, your synapses get even stronger. Your signals between your synapses get even stronger. So that's obviously a good thing. And then you're reviewing it using method 1, which is the Fibonacci method here. And then you can use top grade, and then you can get the top grades. But obviously it's up to you if you want to get top grades or not. But this is a strong technique which will help you get the grades that you desire. So let's summarize. So what is active recall? Really just testing yourself. How can you test yourself? Flashcards, exam questions. What is spaced repetition? Reviewing the same topic over increasing time intervals. How can you use this? Well, you can use the Fibonacci method, which is literally revising on day 1, then day 2, then day 3, day 5, and so on. And it's good because you get more repetitions over. How can you use the 1-to-1 method? Well, you review on day 1, you review on day 2, you review after 1 week, and you review after 2 weeks. How is this useful? You get less repetitions, but the information that you retain is much quickly stored. And what's the reason behind it? Well, the reasoning is because you forget. And you forget, which means you retain more. So active recall and spaced repetition together will get you the top grades. And it's clearly up to you what method you prefer, but these are the methods that have worked for me in the past, and I hope they will work for you. And I'll see you in my next video.